I'm forever preaching to our listeners, viewers and clients about the importance of content creation. And not so much because I think you guys don't have enough to do, enough on your plate, but more to the point of the importance of educating your customers as to what you can do and really putting into practice the whole don't tell me, show me principle. Today, like it or not, you live in the information age, and sure, you might be an exceptional builder, an exceptional plumber, an exceptional landscape gardener, whatever it might be. But if you're not good at actually capturing the work that you do and then being able to showcase that to your past, present and potential customers, then essentially it relies on you just telling them how good you are at something instead of being able to show them. In today's podcast, I'm speaking with an aerial photographer expert who is coming on the show to talk about some of his experience, some of the technologies around drones, some of the limitations around drones as well, and just basically to instill a bit of belief into you guys as to how simple it actually is to start capturing content, imagery, video, that kind of stuff. Because like I say to you guys all the time, if you've got the content, you can use it. If you haven't got it, you can't use it. So just make it part of your process. And we talk about it in the episode as well. So make it part of your process so you're capturing the media. And then once you've got it, you're in a position where you can use it if you want. Maybe you won't use it, but if you ever want to, you can. And guys, trust me, from a marketing agency with all of our clients, like the number one problem that we have is getting people to make capturing video and photos part of their process, because we need that. If we're running their SEO, we need to be updating their Google My Business listings with current photos, or we need to be putting nice project galleries on their websites, and that's stuff we can't make up. So we say to you guys, please just make it part of your process. Get these videos, get these photos, get it done, and we can take over from there. And guys, I'm hoping that this episode really does breathe a bit of belief into how simple that is. And I look forward to, I suppose, if you guys have any feedback as to what we speak about, by all means, please hit us up in the Facebook group. If you've got any questions, any tips, any issues that you've had in the past, let us know. We'd all love to hear it. Okay, guys, enjoy the show. Today's podcast has been proudly brought to you by Tradie Web Guys. Tradie Web Guys work with tradespeople only on their websites and marketing solutions to help them stand out from their competition. Everything from web design through to SEO, search engine marketing, content creation, you name it, guys. It is a customized solution for trade-based organizations, and it's fantastic. Head across to tradiewebguys.com.au/apply, fill in the form, and let's have a conversation.
Giving tradies and contractors around the globe the tools to run a modern business. You're listening to Toolbox Talks from the Site Shed. Now here's your host, Matt Jones.
Aaron, welcome to the Site Shed.
Hi, Matt. Thanks very much for having me.
Mate, great to have you. We're talking about probably one of the coolest topics in the world, I think, today.
Very topical, yeah, very popular at the moment.
Guys, just for your bit of background, Aaron's coming on the show today because we're talking about something which I've banged on religiously about in numerous episodes, and even more so to our clients over at Tradie Web Guys in the space of content creation. And you've heard me say it 1,000 times, you guys are not in the plumbing business, you're not in the electrical business, you're not in the building business, you guys are in the business of creating useful content. And Aaron runs a company called Oz Aerial Media. Essentially, they teach people how to use and also can offer a service in relation to capturing great media through things like photography, drones, so on and so forth. And so today we're going to do a bit of a deep dive into, I suppose, what that actually looks like practically from someone who does it day to day. And we're going to try to do our best to instill a bit of belief and faith into you guys and steer you in the right direction so that it's not just me banging you around the head with this for once, it's someone else.
Yeah, I'll back you up.
Yeah. So, mate, a bit of background on you. You're a photographer originally, is that right?
Yeah, I've been photographing since I was 15, long time.
Yeah.
Longer than I care to admit. So, yeah, photographing commercially and stepped into probably video production about 15, 20 years ago. And then, drones sort of became the next big thing. And about three and a bit years ago, I got my hands on some of these and opened up my world to a new perspective. Instead of being limited to the ground. You're now sky's the limit, literally, within reason. So yeah, basically started the aerial side of it as well, and just been getting new perspectives on videos, adding to the ground-based as well.
We, like, for years we've been helping clients create these beautiful project galleries and project scopes on their websites where it's not just like, the problem has always been for me, like when you go to somebody's website, say a builder or electrician or whatever, and you go to their gallery and it's 15,000 photos in no specific order of things that they've done, but it doesn't mean anything because there's no relative like context to those photos, you know. So over the years we've been helping guys, you know, our clients build these lovely projects, specific project galleries which really like tell a story and help them communicate to past, present and potential customers, you know, the type of work they can do.
And, you know, your website's your first impression. So people are going to research you before they call you. They're going to have a look at who you are and what you've done. And if they like what they see, then they're going to make that point of contact and, you know, pick up a phone or send an email before they invest their time in it. They're always going to have a look at that. So if you can get it ordered and get it in some sort of chronological order, way to go.
One of the biggest obstacles that we still have day to day, and I'm just forever trying to refine this part of our process, is just trying to get media from our clients. Like, we can go and create the content for them and, you know, based off understanding of the basics of the project and all this kind of stuff, that getting the media across to us, the photos, the videos, the testimonials, all that kind of stuff, that's always the ongoing bane of my existence. However, I think part of the problem is these guys don't really, I mean, the common feedback is, oh, I'm not very good with photos. I'm not very good at taking photos. I think people underestimate the power of even just the phones today. You know, like if you don't know how to take, and as I said to you offline, I am certainly not any better at this than anyone else. Like, I take terrible photos and I know it. And my marketing girl, Maddie, tells me constantly, your photos suck. But I mean, the reality is these things are extremely powerful tools. And I think if people just took the time to understand how to use them properly, it would certainly make, from our point of view as their marketing agency, our job a lot easier, because we've got these great pieces of, you know, imagery and stuff that we can use on their websites and on their, you know, their social media and all that kind of stuff.
You're 100% correct. I mean, these phones nowadays, they're not phones, they're computers. They're not a standalone device. They're not just a phone service anymore. They're a video camera, they're a still camera, but they're a computer. And that computer is able to reason. So the photos that you take from these phones, there's an algorithm built behind it to make it look as good as it can look, right? It knows what you're trying to do and it tries to produce that for you. But you've still got to send it through. You know, you've still got to capture it and then send it and make it available to people like yourselves, you know, marketing teams. And
I think one of the great things about phones is, like, from my point of view anyway, you know, you can take a photo and upload it directly to a Google Drive folder, which you can share with somebody else, you know, and
100%.
So it makes it really easy to actually share media if you do it the right way, you know.
Set it up. So it's like anything, preparation
and process.
It makes it so much easier. You're right. You can send it through. And content creation, you know, people like yourself and myself, we can't be on site all the time. We're not there. We're not available to be there 7 hours a day, 8 hours a day, whatever. Getting that content as it's happening is critical, but also getting it to your media team is also critical.
I think, well, and I say to people all the time, like, if you've got the content, if you've got the media, you've got the data, you can use it. If you don't have it, you can't use it. So there's no point in leaving a job and going, oh shit, I wish I took some photos of that job. That's useless. Like, no one, tell your story to somebody who cares. Like, I'd rather you had photos and then said, oh, maybe we could use this later down the track, because then we've got something that we can use, you know.
Take them. If you don't want them, delete them. You won't anyway, but take them. Just take them.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the guys now, and to be fair, we're kind of preaching to the choir here. Like, you know, a lot of the people that are listening or watching this podcast are people that are already converted. You know, they want to learn. They want to learn. It's part of the process. Maybe they're using a job scheduling program like Service Mode or Tradeify, and they're taking photos of their jobs when they get there for, if no other reason, to protect their ass when somebody comes along and go, hey, that scratch on the cladding wasn't there before you got here. They go, yeah, it was, look.
Yeah, it was.
So,
it is.
Yeah, I think a lot of the guys are kind of cottoning on to that. However, still, you know, I think I still have trouble communicating to people the importance of, taking the time, and especially guys that do project-based work, and I'm sure you're going to have some great insight into this, probably a lot more than I can, but, for guys that do project work like builders, or whatever that might be, just having a process in place where, once a week you take like a progress shot of, the job from the same position at the same time of day with the same lighting at the same angle. And, it can really tell a nice story of progress through doing that.
A time lapse is so valuable nowadays, especially if you're going to the site every day. Just stand in the same spot, same height, take a photo.
Yeah.
Very, very simple. And then people like myself, we can produce videos, we can produce, static sort of movement of that.
Yeah.
There's a lot that can be done back end. But if you haven't got the content, you're right. You're just not going to get anything.
And so, there's a few things I suppose we're gonna jump into. Like, obviously, you do this as a profession, and you're also in the process of developing content to teach people how to do it themselves, which I think is fantastic. Because, like we said offline, so many of these guys, myself included, have gone out and bought these drones and things, and they have no idea how to use them. And at the end of the day, they just go, "These things are shit." They take crap photos. But the reality is they just don't know how to do it themselves.
Look, I can't tell you how many times I've had that conversation with tradies and builders and roofers, and they go to me and they've got this one, the Mavic 2 Pro. They've gone out and they've spent $2-3 grand on a drone, and they go, "Oh man, this thing, it's shit. The photos are all dark, they're out of focus." And I look at them and I go, "Look, it's not a shit drone. You're a shit photographer.
Yeah,
you don't know the basics of photography, because these don't have a computer that is working an algorithm behind it to make it look better. They're more like a DSLR or a standard sort of camera that is expecting you to do that work.
Yeah.
You need to do it. You need to know fundamentals. I'm not saying you need to be Annie Leibovitz or anything like that, but you need to know fundamentals of photography. Yeah. What composition is, what shutter speed is, what aperture is, and what they do.
Yeah.
It's just like driving a car. You know what the clutch does, you know what the brake does, and you know what the accelerator does. And combining them makes you go either faster or slower.
Yeah.
You can get better shots if you know the basic principles. And that's something that I do work with people.
I think that's a pretty common thing across the board. People are like, "I just want the result. I don't want to have to do the work." And to which I say, "We'll go and find someone that can do it for you if you don't want to, learn how to do it." It's like anything, you can learn most things.
Like I said, I'm not talking about, getting right into the ducks nuts and all that sort of stuff, really drilling down and being a photographer. But for basic content, and if you're wanting to, if you've got a drone, put a drone up, take a top-down shot of progress. Especially for building and construction. It's great because you can build that content into a time lapse or into a story, taking the same photo from the same spot, like you mentioned, but you just do it elevated with a drone, or even just getting little short videos. The pool's being filled up, a special, front doors going in or something like that. Any sort of content like that. A delivery's being made. It's always nice to sort of get that sort of content because you never know what you're going to want.
Yeah. And even like, so we went on this surf trip to the Maldives last year, and I took one of these Mavic Pro things, and
tough work if you can get it.
Yeah, it's tough. We run these trips for the listeners. Actually, it's like a bit of a tax deduction. We do surf trips in the Maldives and ski trips in Japan. It's awesome. So anyway, I took one of these Mavic Pro things. No idea. I have absolutely no idea. I can't fly a drone. I can't take photos for shit. And I'm just thinking, this is going to be a disaster because we're on a boat. So I'm thinking, how the hell am I going to land it? But one of the other guys that came, Pab, he was like a seasoned expert he had the same unit. And I was just like, wow, I couldn't believe the amazing things that you could do with these. And again, it's just one of those things that he's learned over the years, and he's put the effort into training and learning how to use it. And I was like, wow, this is amazing what you could do with these things. But if it was up to me, I would have run it into the water, I'm sure of it.
Look, honestly, I always say to people, when they say to me, look, what are these drones like? How hard are they? I don't want to crash it. Look, I usually say to people, if you've ever played an Xbox or a PlayStation, you can fly one of these things, because the controls are very similar. The way that they've designed them is it's intuitive to how we work already. And if you can understand up, down, left, right, you can pretty much you can do it. The key is not flying them around at 80 k's an hour and expecting them to stop on a dime.
Right.
And that's where most people fall into trouble, because they'll get that confidence up, they'll get that little blood rush and bit of adrenaline kick, and they start screaming the drone around and it's flying around really fast. And then all of a sudden they realize that they're coming up to a tree or that they're coming down too fast, and shit, we got to stop it, and they don't stop immediately.
Yeah.
So that's where most people fall into trouble.
Or like me trying to convince my mate that we should try and fly the drone inside a barrel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what GoPros are for. You know, it's not about content creation. It's about using the right tool for the job. And I'm sure every listener out there would know that. You don't use a hammer to screw a nail in.
There are a lot of, I suppose there's, and rightfully so, a lot of rules and legalities around flying these things now, aren't they? Like, I know back when they came out, every bastard was flying these drones up around their homes and that kind of stuff. Actually, where I live up in the northern rivers of New South Wales, like there's quite a lot of drone activity down on the beach because of, you know, like you mentioned offline, shark watch and all that kind of carry on. But I know a lot of people have, like one of my clients, as I was saying to you before, he actually had set up a drone business, but he said it was just too hard to fly them because there was too many legalities around, you know, proximity to other homes and, you know, notifications.
Sydney is particularly tricky. The bigger cities are obviously a little bit tougher. There's some very basic rules that CASA, the Civil Aviation Safety Authority, have put out that are hard and fast rules. And they're based around safety. They're based around, you know, in case a motor fails on a drone and it comes down, they're to keep people safe. A couple of the key ones: you mustn't fly over 120 meters. Now, 120 meters is pretty high, right? But anything over 120 meters, you start moving into emergency airspace.
Yeah, right.
So your police, your care flight helicopters, that sort of stuff can move in that space above 120 meters. It's not about these sort of passenger airlines and jets that sort of, we know where they are and when they're going to be there. It's about these emergency sort of services that you don't know. You don't know when a car crash is going to happen and a helicopter is going to fly across the North Shore to drop someone off at Northern Beaches Hospital. So it must stay under 120 metres. You mustn't fly within 30 metres of people. It's pretty simple, you know.
So is that people that are like standing outside, or is that people that are in a home, or like what? Where's the where's the line? Yeah,
30 metres. So basically, if the RPAS or the drone is within 30 metres of that person, move it outside, move it away, get further away.
So essentially, you can't fly them in cities.
No, I wouldn't. No, especially in Sydney, anything within 5 kilometres of an aerodrome. So if you're within 5.5 kilometres of a controlled aerodrome, which is Kingsford Smith, Bankstown, Camden, airports, those sort of things, there is absolute proximity warnings that come up because of heavy airport traffic. So Sydney, because Kingsford Smith is very close, you know, your Rockdales, your Inner Wests, your lot of your eastern suburbs, that sort of stuff, you're not allowed to fly there.
I mean, I suppose for a lot of listeners that is relevant. Like a lot of our, you know, listeners and viewers are in cities, and you know they know about. Well, if they don't know about it, they've certainly heard of these issues, which is probably why they've never really got into it. But I mean, I suppose like taking it like that aside, it shouldn't really hold you back from the reality of capturing data, capturing photos one way or another. You don't have to stick a drone up, you know.
Exactly.
Get a freaking camera.
Exactly. You know, drones are just one medium. And in saying that there's a lot of restrictions, they are there to keep us safe. So, you know, they're designed to make it so that we are safer. Now, that being said, there's a lot of places that you can do it and still get that content from the drones. So it's just about, you know, knowing the rules and knowing what you are and aren't allowed to do. And when I say you're not allowed to fly within 5.5 kilometres of an airport, it doesn't mean it can't be done. It just means you have to have the appropriate licensing and you have to make the application to CASA to tell them that you're going to be there. So there's no hard and fast rule with where you can and can't fly. There are a few spots that it's just a hard no, but even if it's a controlled space, you can still make an application if you have that licensing. It's
a shame because, I mean, I think in the right hands and with the right training, with the right people, like it could solve a lot of problems, you know. I mean, I used to be a plumber, and the amount of times you'd have to, you know, climb up onto some sketchy roof to check the fascia board or something like that in a gutter. Like,
yeah. Look, honestly, we don't even know what these things can do yet.
Yeah.
We're still exploring, and that's one of the things I find really cool. You know, we haven't even figured out what their full capability is. You know,
which is probably part of the problem.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we're still exploring it, but you're right. You could pop a drone up, go and take some high resolution photos, and I do this sort of stuff all the time. Where, you know, I'll do a roof inspection on a 20, 30 meter building, and you can literally see the photos in real time. They're right there. And because they're high resolution, you can zoom in down to 2 centimeters.
Yeah.
You can build a 3D model of it.
Yeah.
You know, we can do a map of a building and create this incredible 3D model that you can move around in space and take measurements from, down to accuracy of, well, we can get down to 1 millimeter, but most of the maps are usually about 1 to 2 centimeters.
Yeah, okay.
But if you're measuring the size of a roof,
Yeah, for roof
1
sheets, that's
centimeter is
fine.
more
Yeah,
than enough.
exactly. Yeah.
And you can also then work out pitch. So you can, you know, the angle of the roof, you know, the pitch. You know that the back of the house is actually 3 degrees higher than the front. You know that the slope at the front of the house is at 15 degrees. You know, all these measurements and annotations are captured as part of that data.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And so I suppose fundamentally I'm guessing there's like best practice and there's things that, you know, people should perhaps have not considered yet, but should consider if they're going to start doing this kind of, you know, media capturing. What would some of those entail?
Visit CASA's website for a start.
Okay.
Go to
CASA.
CASA, yep. Just Google CASA Australia, Know Your Drone.
Right.
And that will take you to a specific Know Your Drone page.
Yep.
And the rules that CASA put out are all there in black and white. You can download a PDF, you can print it out and stick it on your wall,
right.
Or stick it in your bag if you want to. And it's just the fundamental rules. Not within 30 meters, 120 meters height. Don't fly at night time. Don't fly in fog. Don't fly, you know, within 5.5 kilometers or 3 nautical miles of controlled aerodromes. Just stuff like that.
Don't fly at night time?
Yep.
Why is that?
No, they don't let you fly over night time. Again, because you've got to keep the drone in what they call VLOS, or visual line of sight. And you got to remember all the terminologies are all airline based, so they love an acronym.
Yeah.
But you've got to keep the drone within visual line of sight. You've got to be able to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Is that all the time, or is that when you're really? Because I mean, when we were flying our thing like 3 kilometers away, and I'm blind as hell. Like I couldn't see it after 50 meters.
Oh, look, it doesn't mean they can't do it. It just means you're not meant to.
Right.
But I mean, you go and buy a Ferrari, that thing can do 350 k's an hour.
Right.
You're not allowed to take it that fast.
Right.
But they do have these rules, obviously, to keep us safe. And if you're just aware of them, look, it's on you.
Yeah.
You know, the way that they treat it is like when, let's say you get pulled over for speeding in your car and the police officer comes up and you go, look, I'm sorry, officer, I didn't realize I was doing 70 in a 60 zone. I didn't realize it was 60. I thought I was doing the right thing. And they go, no problem, Mr. Jones, here's your fine. There's no question. You were breaking the law.
Yeah.
And it's the same with these. They're not going to actively chase you down, but if you get caught doing the wrong thing, you're doing the wrong thing. Oh, sorry, I didn't know. Well, it's no excuse. So
I didn't know that was the bathroom window.
Look, educating yourself, it's the easiest thing you can do.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's a one-pager. There's only a few rules. And if you know them, you can fly within them quite easily and still do whatever you need to do.
What are some of the main applications that you see guys using these technologies for?
Main applications in construction, building, trade, that sort of stuff. Time-lapse videos. So we do a lot of time-lapse videos of a house or a construction site being built, and we map it. So we fly the same route over and over again, and we create a singular video of the progress. And instead of it being a static camera on a pole, you get an aerial flight around it, and you see the progress moving in 3D, right?
And but you can't do that if you're in the CBD, if you're in cities.
Well, again,
not really.
Not really, no. It depends where you are. Depends on your location. You can do it. There are, you know, you can make applications to CASA to fly.
Right.
If you're in a city, yes, you can, but you need to apply to CASA. You need to apply to the city.
Just red tape.
Yeah. So there's a lot of red tape, and there's cost to that red tape as well.
I'm sure.
So to make those applications cost anywhere from $800 to $1,200.
Yeah.
So there's that. Mapping, 3D mapping and 3D modeling. In the building industry is incredible because you can map a vacant site, you can annotate, so you can find out volumetric readings of, you know, mounds of dirt on the site, so you can know, all right, well, that's 100 cubic meters of dirt, So we're going to need this much time, this sort of machinery, this many trucks to get rid of it. You can plan all that in advance. It's not, all right, well, let's just bring a big truck and a big loader and see how long it takes to get rid of it.
So I'm guessing that's integrating specific software to work. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And the other really cool thing that they're doing at the moment is even before you start building, you can take what's called a LiDAR scan. LiDAR is, it's a high intensity laser. And so for virgin bush, you can take a LiDAR scan of the virgin bush and you can see water tributaries, culverts, again, volumetric readings of the material. So you can understand, all right, well, here's the natural water flow. Here's the slope of the terrain. This is going to take this much. And it's all about project planning. So it gives you all this rich data before you even set foot on the site. Nobody's even gone there.
A friend of mine has a drone business, shout out to Timmy, and they work in agriculture and they have their drones are nothing like the ones that you've got. They're more like
much bigger
little planes. They fire them off a slingshot and they map through the drone. I'm definitely paraphrasing here and I'm probably going to cock it up, but it's something to do with like ground moisture and to help farmers understand where the best place is to drill for wells and where to plant certain crops according to water density in the earth.
Yep.
It's crazy.
And even take that to the next step. Once the crops are up, so once you've established what crops to plant where, because you've taken your water densities and you know that soil is going to be good for corn or that soil is going to be good for whatever. Once they start growing, you can then remap it and go, all right, well, that area needs a bit of help. So we'll fertilize there, but that area is doing great. So we won't worry about fertilizing there. So before, where you just chuck a bunch of fertilizer in a plane and cover the lot, you can specifically target areas so that you're not wasting money, you're not wasting time, you're not wasting fuel, you're not
killing your soil.
Yeah. Or herbicide or pesticide or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's giving you much better data. And that's what it's all about, knowing what you're getting into before you get there.
And so what about, I suppose, for the listeners and viewers out there, like what are some good starting points? I mean, obviously, do they need a drone? Maybe not. I suppose that's probably the first thing, figure out if that's going to be useful to them. I mean, if you're a maintenance plumber, probably not. If you're a builder in rural areas, sure, why not? Who knows?
Yeah.
But then I suppose what I'm asking is, like, for the guys out there that are listening in, like, what are some starting points essentially in terms of content capture?
Well, I was actually going to take you back to content capture rather than go and buy a drone.
Yeah.
Right? Get content. Start getting familiar with taking your phone out of your pocket. You're putting the kitchen in. Just film it. Film the guys carrying it in, right? And little tip, here's a freebie. If you're filming with your phone, turn it sideways.
Yeah.
Film on the side, okay? Because when you watch a video, unless you're watching it on this, everything's widescreen. Everything's 16:9 ratio, right? Your computer monitors, your TVs, movies, whatever. It's all that way. Yeah. So if you film that way, it becomes these black bars on your screen.
I mean, that way, they say portrait's pretty much only good for social media, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, not even that. I mean, Facebook does widescreen. YouTube's widescreen. It's only good for Instagram.
Right.
So that's just a little tip. If you're filming with your phone, that's videos, turn it on the side. You're going to get much better videos straight up.
Mm-hmm.
But just start creating content, start filming it. Like I said, if the kitchen's being put in, if you've got some marble stairs going in, I don't know, something interesting, anything. Because as the builders or as the tradies, you're the subject matter experts.
Yeah.
And everybody goes, oh, I don't like being on camera. I'm sure if somebody's paying you to put that in their property, you're capable of talking about it. You know the product enough and you know what you're doing enough to be able to get a 10, 15, 20-second little clip. You going, yeah, hey, look, check this out. We're putting in the kitchen today. It's a marble bench top that's been brought over from Italy and, carved by, Greek goddesses, whatever. It's pretty cool. We think it's cool anyway. That's it.
I wonder how many Greek goddesses are living in Italy these days. There's probably...
Yeah, look,
they get around a bit.
Rate's pretty good here, so,
and so I think, and I've done a lot of podcasts on this in the past, and we've had experts on the show to sort of talk about that as well, like overcoming that fear of. Like, it's funny because, and I say to people all the time, you'll stand in front of your customer and you'll tell them exactly what needs to be done, why it needs to be done, what the best way to do it is, and as soon as you lift a phone in front of your face, you go stupid and you can't talk to it. It's a really common experience for a lot of people out there. They just, for whatever reason, they think having a camera on them, it just freaks them out. And I just say to them, the only difference between holding a phone in front of your face and talking to your customer is if you fuck it up on the phone, you can delete it.
Exactly. If you don't like it, just do it again.
Exactly.
Or don't send it.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's all up to you. If you don't send it, don't send it. If it doesn't turn out right, either do it again or just delete it.
And I get it because I know, like, I suppose a lot of people we work with have a lot of fear with it. A lot of people don't. But like once they understand that they are the expert and they're only talking about things that they know, like I'm not asking them to give me a 5-minute explanation of calculus. Like I'm saying, talk about the hot water heater you're putting in and you've done thousands of, and you know this stuff.
You know it inside out.
You can talk about it backwards.
And keep it short. Just remember, it's an elevator pitch. Don't waffle on. Don't tell us about, where it came from or who built it. This is what it is. This is why we're doing it. This is what it's going to do. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
On call to action. You always want a call to action at the end.
I think one of the biggest things that we see as an issue, because we ask for this every month, we're like, give us content. And very, very seldom does it actually come through. However, like it's our experience that until it becomes part of the process, until it becomes part of that, the deliverables for that job, like we're big on project management and trying to get guys to, follow processes and procedures. And I say to them, until you make this part of your procedures for the guys out on site, you will always get relegated in the list of things to do due to being uncomfortable, due to it not being important, due to smokers coming up and I want to get a coffee over filming this, whatever it might be.
Film the smoker. Seriously. Guys been working hard this morning. Time for a break.
I mean, I just try to say, guys, think of like if somebody's coming to you, which they do regularly, asking for a service you provide. It might be a renovation. It could be a hot water heater installation. It could be, LED lighting installation, whatever it might be. People are coming to you for information, and it's your prerogative and your responsibility as the professional to provide them with information. Now, the best type of information, you can either sit there and tell them about how good you are, or you can show them.
Exactly. And the other thing is you can build a library for yourself so that you can learn what you've done. You can see it. You can go, oh, that's right.
Yep.
That job in wherever, that was this one. We've got photos of that, haven't we? Yeah, right. Let's have a look. Oh, exactly. Yeah, look. See how that does that there? Well, that's similar to this. All right, well, what did we do there?
Yeah.
That content's already there. You've already got that information. You can refer back to it.
My experience, again, is, in the information age, which we live in, if people are there's touch points. And when people are coming to you for a service, they may not be potentially ready to buy immediately or, sign off on it right away, especially for longer sales cycle services, like renovations, or maybe it's a, whatever it could be, like something that's a big ticket item, that people just don't, okay, we're not talking about a $300 block drain here. We're talking about a $300,000 home renovation,
Exactly.
So people want to sit on these things a bit longer. So the more proactive that you are in communicating, your expertise to them between the time they come to you initially and the time they actually are ready to sign off, that's the difference between you winning, can be the difference between you winning or losing the job. You're front of mind. Between then and now, they've learned how to know, like, and trust you through useful, relevant content that you've created. Essentially,
they've seen your previous examples. They've seen that you know how to do it.
Yeah.
That one looks like what we're going to do. Oh, well, that's a bit different, but yeah, even for a $300 block drain, if you've got that information there, people can go, because everybody's going to look you up before they call you. This is what we do now.
Yeah.
You don't just go to the yellow pages anymore and pick a number.
Yep.
You go to their website, you go to their Facebook, you type into Google plumbers in my area, and it comes up and you go, all right, yeah, cool, all right, check them out. And they always look at what you've got before they call you.
And so
even, that $300 block drain, just film it. Check this out. We put a snake down there, got it straight out.
Yeah.
10 minutes on site, customer was happy. Thanks very much.
And what I say to guys all the time is like we talk about, improving conversions, so people always come and say, oh, we need more leads, we need more leads. But then I say, well, you don't necessarily need more leads. You've got leads, just you're not converting those leads. Why not?
Correct.
Well, you're not converting them because once that traffic hits your website, they're not getting the information they want, and they're just going to someone else that can give it.
Somewhere else.
And so it's not that hard. If somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, Aaron, I wonder if you ever done like a home reno in Bankstown or something like that," you can go, "Well, actually, not in Bankstown, but here are 3 pages on our website, complete
100%.
projects that talk about jobs that we've done nearby. See if any of those resonate." But you can't make that stuff up.
Because you've got it. It's there. That's exactly right. Yeah, we're not doing area specific. Look, in Bankstown, we might have a bit of trouble doing it because of the airport, if we're going to do aerial. But, we can do ground-based time lapse, we can do walkthroughs, we can do whatever. So, yeah, if you've got that content, people are going to always self-source. They're always going to see what you've done.
And all the time as well, we'll say to people, what are some interesting projects that you've done in the past? Like, it doesn't have to be current. Like, again, if you've captured the imagery and captured the data, you can use it 12 months, 24 months, whenever you want. You can use it whenever you want. You've got it. You've got the data. You can use it. If you haven't got it, you can't use it. Then it becomes a case of, let's see if we can get back in the house and take photos. At which stage new homeowners moved in. They've got all their furniture in there. Half it looks crap. The place doesn't look anything as good as when you handed it over, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Kids' hands up the walls from the kids and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Look, capturing, like I said earlier, if you've got that library of content, even if you sit on it, and I wouldn't recommend that, but even if you do, you've still got it for your client. They don't know what you've done. They can't pick your brain. You know what you've done, but they can't see what you've done. They can't see that good work. But if you just take a photo and go, yeah, look, here's this one that we did in blah. Here's this one. Oh, look, actually, hang on. What about this one? Check that out. They're much more likely to engage.
I think as well, like people, like it's as I was saying before, like even taking photos on phone, and I know even with a drone, like it'll save the photos to your phone or your iPad or whatever. So like once it's there, once it's on the device, you can even set it up so that it automatically adds those photos as soon as you get into Wi-Fi, uploads them to your Google Drive.
Yep.
Like it does it all automatic. And then it's so easy for you to store that and organize it once it's in there. It's already there. It does all the heavy lifting for you.
Yeah, 200 gig Google Drives, like $1.50 a month.
Well, or if you're in G Suite, it's unlimited.
Yeah.
I think
it's
now
not expensive.
I think now they've changed with new Google Workplace. I think you get something like 2 terabytes or something insane. Like it's
something stupid.
You'll be flat out filling that ever.
Yeah. So look, you say there's no excuse, but look, there's always an answer. You can work around it. Yes, it takes a little bit of setup. Yes, it takes a little bit of savvy. You need to sort of have that understanding. And a lot of people sort of go, I'm not into computers. I barely know how to use my phone. No problem. That's fine. You can get people to do it for you. And that's why they're coming to people like you, Matt, because they need that help. But
I think as well, though, like that excuse, and I say to people these days, it's the same thing as like, I don't like being in front of the camera. And I just say, I don't give a shit. I really don't care if you like being in front of the camera. I'm not asking you to do things you like. I'm asking you to do things that you need. And so
you're asking me to do something. You're saying to me, I want more traffic. I want this.
Yeah.
Well, this is how you get it nowadays.
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen that a lot where, people go, I don't know how to do it. Well, hi, welcome to the 21st century.
Yeah, exactly. Grow up. Like you're an adult. Stop making.
It's the way it is now. I've never done it like that before. Cool. You won't be doing it anymore.
Exactly right. Yeah. I think sometimes people have these fabrications. It's like that whole, I'm not a morning person. Like, what a load of shit. You're not a morning person. Decide to be a morning person. It's a decision.
Yeah.
You want to be good on camera? Learn how to do it. It's easy. Like no one knows exactly how to behave on camera. You learn it. It's like anything.
Exactly.
So I just say to you guys, and I think one of the biggest misconceptions that like I think tradespeople have is they think what they do is not amazing. They think it's not interesting. And they think that people, like, because they do it every day, and I'm sure this is not specific to trades, I'm sure it's common in every vertical, but like, guys, I've said it a million times before, what you do is fascinating to people, even if it's like clearing block drains, like that is an amazing thing that people appreciate more than you will ever know. I mean, to not have sewer overflowing in their laundry is a formidable outcome.
The problem with familiarity, you do it every day, you understand it so well and so intimately. It's part of the course.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things I love about my job. I get to go out on different sites and do different things. And I talk to I was doing a filming of a bitumen tank being installed overnight. And I'm talking, the tanks that fill up the trucks that take the hot mix to. So this was a 600,000 litre or something tank at Port Botany. And it was an overnight installation. And I learned all about hot mix bitumen that night. I know that it sits at, this sort of temperature and they have to have this sort of viscosity. And I didn't know anything about hot mix before. It was cool.
Yeah, exactly.
It was really cool. And, this guy's been doing hot mix bitumen for 40 years or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's exactly the same. What trades and what, plumbers or builders, it is interesting content. And people, laymen's like myself, do find it interesting.
Exactly. I mean, but you guys have to appreciate that pretty much all the services you guys offer are things that people need. And at some point they're going to want information on it, whether that's, replacing tap washers or whether it's, building a new home or, even landscaping your garden. As I look outside, I've got 2 landscapers here putting up pavers.
We're getting them to do it because we don't know how to.
Right.
That's the whole point.
Well, yeah, and it's it's not common knowledge, and it is interesting. So I just say to guys all the time, like, you could be the best. I'm sure you're excellent at what you do, but let's start showcasing that. Let's start telling people. Let's start showing people, informing them.
And look, that's really hard to do as well. Self-promotion and self-belief of your work is really tricky. And
it is and it isn't. If you take photos and you put it together on a web page, it's and you talked about a job you've done, it's not that hard. I mean, I think for me, the fear for people is like actually, talking about themselves. You don't have to do that. You've just got to talk about a job you've done. You haven't got to talk about how good you are.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
That's what that's what the client testimonial's for.
The reviews, always getting the reviews as well.
Exactly. All right, mate, this has been great. I think we've pretty much covered off on most things, unless there's something you think we've missed.
No, I think we've got fair chunk of it. I think that's enough for most people to digest.
Yeah, I think as a good starting point for the listeners and viewers out there would just be to make a decision and get it done. Like, make it part of your process. You don't have to go over the top. 2 or 3 photos of a job is all you need. 2 or 3 nice photos. Don't rush them. Yeah, video, exactly. Like, you don't even have to be on the video. You can just be filming and talking. Hey, this is 125 litre storage tank that we're going to replace with a Rinnai instantaneous heater. We're doing this because they've got a small family now. They've run out of hot water. Blah blah blah. Like, bang, done. You haven't got to be on the camera. You just point your phone at it and record.
Stand behind it. Yeah, look, just grab that content. It's so critical because that can build your profile. Yeah, it's just all about building that brand.
So I know you're in the process of developing some training. What sort of training is that going to look like? Is it just drone based or is it across the board?
No, look, I'm working with other organisations to write aerial photography training programs for them. I do myself personal one-on-one training for people that want to learn how to fly drones, and I base it around their skill set, but most people it's like out of the box. I remember teaching this one woman, she was 58 years old. She's about to go traveling with her husband. She wants to buy a drone because she's going to be in cool spots to take photos. She'd never seen a drone flown before, let alone flown one. She had never even seen someone else flying one. And at the end of the 2 hours, it's just a 2-hour one-on-one little session, fly the drones, that sort of stuff. She was off to JB Hi-Fi. She was going down to JB to buy her own drone. She was done. She was sold. And it was great because even now I talk to her. She messages me and it's like, oh, look, we're here. I took this photo. What do you think? And it's like, oh, well, okay, that's really cool. Yeah, you're underexposing it. Maybe try this. Thanks, Aaron. See you later. So, yeah, look, I'm happy to do those one-on-one sort of sessions with people if they want to get more information or, yeah, like I said, I'm writing some actual aerial photography specific courses for larger organizations.
Nice. All right, mate. Well, thanks very much for your time. This has been very informative, and I love the fact that whether you know it or not, you've backed up a lot of what I've been saying over the years anyway. So it's always a good point.
So it makes you feel better about yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those situations where you can tell your clients to do something over and over again. They don't do it. They hear someone else tell you, and they do it straight away. So hopefully,
you can talk to your wife. You can say it, but if somebody else says it,
right. That's good. So anyway, Oz Aerial Media. The website's Oz Aerial ARIEL Media.com.au and your Oz Aerial Media across all social. And if you have any questions for Aaron, guys, just Aaron, AARON at ozaerialmedia.com.au. Awesome, mate. Thanks for your time. If anyone has any
absolute pleasure,
by all means, let us know what those questions are. If you've got any experiences, positive or negative, with content capture, drone flying, anything we've mentioned in this episode, hit us up in the Facebook group when you see this podcast come out in coming weeks, and I'll endeavour to get Aaron back on the show, or perhaps answer it in the Facebook group or something like that. Awesome, mate. All right, well, listeners, that is a wrap. Thank you again, Aaron, and we'll chat again soon.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Toolbox Talks. If you're liking what you hear, then you can head across to thesiteshed.com, where you can join our community by signing up to our Toolbox Talks. You'll get sent a weekly notification, which is basically a highlight of everything that we've spoken about during that week, along with any other industry news that may be relevant or specific to the trades. If you're enjoying the show, you can head across to iTunes, Stitcher, or SoundCloud, where you can leave us a review. That would be fantastic, and all the reviews get read out in the show. Likewise, if you have any friends or colleagues that you think would benefit from the show and the episodes that we create, then please go ahead and share it with them.